What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the beat. Hey, did you catch last week's show? Wow. Gretchen Lyles was on with Monty Treadway, and it was a fantastic show. Set all-time records on the beat, ladies and gentlemen. It was a fantastic show. If you didn't get a chance to see it, go back and look at that. We're on to episode 11 now, and episode 10 had the two of them playing some original tunes that's going to be released on their upcoming album that's coming up pretty soon. We don't have a firm date on that, but we will pretty soon. When we do, then the Beat Man will let you know when you can hear Gretchen Lyles and the Modern Eldorados original music coming out from their album. So, listen, I wanted to say thanks so much to Gretch for taking the time to come out and do my show. He is one of the most humble men I've ever met in my entire life as far as a musician is concerned. Has no pretenses, he doesn't reek of ego like so many do. He's just a very, very humble guy, him and Monty both, you know. And when they got together and started playing, oh man, that was, it was the highlight of the night, there was no doubt about that, so. We had record participation, everybody, and it says thanks to you. So thank you so much for those of you that are logged on right now and watching this show absolutely live when it airs on time. Now, anybody can go back and see it later, that's cool. But if you want to be a participant and be a part of the show and be a part of history, you need to be logged on and watching the show, and hopefully you'll make a comment or two or ask a question or two. My guest tonight probably would love for you to ask him some questions because he is a wellspring of information when it comes to music around the Gulf Coast, especially when it comes to the blues genre. My guest tonight was introduced to the blues at a very, very early age, and when you hear some of the elbows he's rubbed around with and some of the people that he met at a very, very young age who were key influences upon him as a musician and a producer, and you'll learn all about him, but the man's name is Mike Cotton. He's a local and southern legend down here. He's been around for many, many years. He has his own company, Mike Cotton Productions, and he's produced videos for Emmy and some of the other award shows and so forth. It's amazing, everything that the man's accomplished. And he is a wellspring of information and history, so we're looking forward to that tonight. So, and thank you so much for everybody that's continuing to support the show by sharing the content on your timelines. It helps so much to spread the word and get everything out so we can get this program out to more people, let them know what's going on with our local music scene here in Pensacola, Florida. Okay, music news. Keela Richardson. Oh, I'm so proud of this woman. Oh, my. What a voice this woman had. I'm telling you right now. I caught some of her performance Monday night on American Idol, and she made it to the top 7. There was 2 more cuts. She's in the top 7 now. So she is progressing rapidly, y'all. I mean, I think it's just fantastic that we've got a local Pensacola artist who has devoted her life to teaching young people music and some of her accomplishments. I went over some of those last week when we were talking about this. I'm going to continue to track this every week on my show until American Idol gets down to the last one, and I'm hoping and praying you all need to join me that Keela Richardson makes it all the way down to the vast finals, man, because she deserves it. She's got a powerful voice, man, I'm going to tell you right now. But I'll tell you, if you haven't got a chance to do so, you need to go back and follow her from the beginning. Go back and look at her original interviews with the American Idol staff and watch the progression and how she's matured so much. Oh, my God. What I saw on stage last night, or on Monday night, was an elegant, beautiful, classy woman with a golden set of pipes that would make any man swoon. And I'll tell you right now, she's doing a heck of a job on it. So, Keela Richardson, we're proud of you, hon. I hope this gets wind of her people and over at the Learning Center where she works. I would love to be able to come over there and talk to a few people. That would be fantastic. So if you know anybody over there, tell them about the show. Let them know the Beat Man wants to get somebody from Keela's camp to come on in. Oh, can you imagine her coming on my show? She got no time for that being on American Idol, I'll bet you. But, oh, wow, that will blow me clean away. I'm telling you right now. So anyway, yeah, so tonight, listen, throw up a comment, tell me what you think. You got a question for either me or my guest when it comes time for that? No problem, and we'd be happy to answer it for you. No problem. Listen, I'm going to tell you something. The upcoming show list is continuing to grow, and that's why I'm getting ready to get right into that right now, especially with the time that we got here, because there's just a whole lot going on this weekend. This is the season, folks. There is so much to do. You cannot complain about having a place to go to see live music and entertainment anywhere around the Gulf Coast area that we're at. It takes 60 miles in either direction of Pensacola, and there is tons of opportunity to see all kinds of bands. D-Lady and I were out last night and looking for some live entertainment. Went up and down Rio de Luna and went to the Break and went to Patty's, went to a couple places. Nothing was tripping our trigger, so we decided to go over to Sandshaker. And who was there? Tyler Livingston with his Wednesday band, Hump Days. Cool name, huh? Anyway, Cody Fortag is playing the drums, and Robert, I believe is his name, is the bass player and a singer, was singing. And I had some of their stuff on my live feed last night, so check my feed on Facebook, and you'll see a couple of tunes that I recorded last night at Sandshaker with Tyler Livingston. And speaking of Tyler Livingston, I'm just going to go ahead and break it right now. Tyler Livingston is going to be on my show May 7th. Thursday, May 7th, he's going to be in the KTB studio, so you ain't going to want to miss that. And not only that, but he's going to be bringing the Absolutes with him. Everybody knows Chicken, right? Well, he's going to be here too. And Marcus Gillett too. He is one bad bass player, that man. Oh, I love to watch him play bass. May 7th, so you don't want to miss that. Okay. One more announcement before I get into upcoming shows. Next week's show will be on Friday instead of Thursday, because I've got Jim Richmond and Howie coming in as the Cat Daddy Blues duo. And they're going to come in and perform for us, and they're going to be part of the interview process. That's next Friday. He was already booked, and I didn't want to mess with his schedule because I know how musicians are. And, you don't want to get your schedule messed up if you already got something booked. And, I decided to change the format to Thursdays to try to give me a broader audience and more availability to more musicians so they can come on the show, because Friday nights are work nights, especially this time of year. But he'll be on next Friday. All right. Tonight, Jay Moody plays Patty O'Leary's Irish Pub, 9 to 11. Josh Garrett Band with Chris and Christine Alexander playing at Buckingham Blues Bar. That's tonight. And then tomorrow at Twisted Fork in New Charlotte, and Saturday at Troll Music in Venice, Florida. Josh Garrett Band. So I think I saw Josh Garrett one time a while back, but didn't have Chris and Christine in the band, as I recall. So I'm looking forward to getting out and seeing them pretty soon. The Remedy. What's going on, guys? How's it going at the Remedy? Plays G.I. Jade's Tiki Bar in Fort Walton Beach. That's going to be tonight here in a little bit. As a matter of fact, they go from 6:30 to 10:30 p.m. D. Scott Riggs, our blues man personified, who's always there on a Monday night at Seville Quarter. D. Scott Riggs music at Five Sisters Blues Cafe, 6 p.m. You don't want to miss that. The Aces duo at Tailpins Waterfront Grill in Destin. I don't have a start time on that. You might want to get a hold of Tailpins to get a start time on that show. The Modern Eldorados and Gretsch Lyles at St. Christopher's Church. They're playing today. And at the River Pub in Bay Minette on Saturday as well. And so you might, if you get a chance at all, you got to get out and see the Modern Eldorados. They put on a tremendous show. Okay, Selwyn Birchwood. Now, I've not seen this man yet, but he's playing at the Paradise on the beach, 5:30. He's already playing it right now as we speak. Selwyn Birchwood. And then Andy Hall at Bushwhackers Landing in Perdido Key. That's 6 to 9 tonight. So plenty to do tonight, and there's plenty to do this whole weekend. My goodness. Tomorrow, The Collective, a brand new outfit that is making the rounds here in Pensacola with some quality musicians personified. They're going to be playing at Seville Quarter, 9:30 to 1:30, both Friday and Saturday this weekend. So if you get a chance, come out and see The Collective. Then you won't be disappointed, I'm sure. Mystic Radio is playing at the Harley Davidson on Highway 29 from 5 to 8 p.m. tomorrow. The motorcycle shops now have got stuff going on. Pensacola Harley's got an event this weekend, I believe. And Me and the Misfits, I think, are playing down there. Well, I'll get to that in a second, but I'm sure they are. And then a new outfit. I'm so looking forward to this. This is probably where D-Lady and I are going to end up tomorrow night. The Contraries, if I'm pronouncing that right. That is Lars Espeson's new joint. And he's got, he plays sax. I didn't know that he sings as much because I hardly ever hear him sing when I see him playing with Brandon Giles. But this is his new outfit, and it's a trio. He's going to be playing at Patty's, 8 to midnight. Lars, if you're watching, man, we're going to have to come out and see you, dude, because I'm excited about your new project, and I want to cover that for you so we can let everybody else know what's going on with the Contraries. Aries. I'll get the right pronunciation on that, and I'll get back to you. Okay? All right, Riptide. Anybody seen Riptide before? They are a classic. They are not classic, but they are a fantastic rock and roll band. They do some classics, and then they do some modern stuff as well. But they are tight. If you want to see a good show, they are going to be at Woodsy's Hilltop Bar. That's tomorrow at 8 p.m. And actually, it's going to be Friday and Saturday. 9 to 1 a.m. at Woodsy's. That's when Riptide's playing. Rocky Danny and the Brotherhood. What's up, Rocky Danny? What's happening? Hi, Kim. Five Sisters Blues Cafe. Favorite spot for the blues. 6 p.m. tomorrow. You don't want to miss that. Blue Levy Band at AJ's on the Bayou. Starts at 5 p.m. and then they're at Beauchamp's Oyster House. Beauchamp's Oyster House at 5:30 p.m. on Saturday. Okay. Horseshoe Kitty, one of our favorite local bands. You know, buddy. He's going to be at Andy D's Roadhouse from 7 to 11 p.m. That's tomorrow. Juana's Pagodas, Trick Zipper Duo at 4 p.m. and then Vinyl Revival hits the stage at 8 p.m. Friday and Saturday. You got to see Vinyl Revival. It's a big band. They got a lot of members. I think it's like 6 members strong. And my good friend Jim George plays drums and sings in the band. But all the musicians in that band are top-notch, par excellence musicians. And they play 80s music. They are superb. You got to go out and see them. And then Ben Stack is 2 to 5 p.m. at Bushwhackers, followed by Bad Juju, Christy D and Bad Juju. What's going on, Christy D? 6 to 9 p.m. If you can get a chance, get down there and see Bad Juju. That's always a good show. Christy's got a rare set of lungs, and that woman can belt it out, and it just flows through in the music when they play. Crosstown Band at Bands on the Blackwater. Music starts at 7, goes till 9 p.m. Bands on the Blackwater. Beach Dogs are playing at the Break Beach Bar. 9 p.m. That's tomorrow as well. James Daniels and Augie Savage at Johnny B's in Lillian, Alabama. 6 to 10 p.m. That's Johnny B's joint. What's going on, Johnny? Never Ending. Tomorrow night at the Salty Rose on the beach, and they get started at 6 and they go till 10 o'clock p.m. My good friend Rudy O, Rude Dog himself, is kicking the drums in that band, and you got to go see them when you get a chance. They're very entertaining. And Saturday, Me and the Misfits playing at the Pensacola Harley Davidson from noon to 4 p.m. Jack Grimley's Joker's Wild at Goat Lips. 7:30 to 10:30 p.m. Hey, Jack, what's going on, buddy? Yeah, I'm sure that'll be a great show. I'm glad to see you playing again real soon. And then again, we got Mystic Radio is playing at Patty's from 8 to midnight. Rick Kindle hosts an open mic at the Golden Hour Yoga and Tea Room. I believe that's in Fort Walton. Or is that here? No, that's here. That's over off the 12th, as a matter of fact. Show starts at 6, goes till 8 p.m. And then again, Vinyl Revival, Andy D, 7 to 11 p.m. D-Jam at the Blues Tavern Mobile. Also Friday, the Ketones, 4 to 6:30. And the Lucky Dogs at 9 p.m. Saturday, Pearls of Trinity comes on at 9 p.m. I haven't seen Pearls of Trinity yet either, but I've seen clips, and I'm really wanting to go see them as well. Ben Lake plays at Bushwhackers, 12 to 3 p.m. Also, Jason Sutton takes the stage at 3:30 to 6:30 at Bushwhackers, and the Rhonda Hart Duo comes on at 7, goes to 10 p.m. All right, we're winding down to the bottom of the list. Sunday, the Free Radicals at American Legion Post 199 in Fairhope, Alabama, 4 p.m. And the Full Monty plays Patty O'Leary's Irish Pub on the beach at 2 p.m., goes till 6 p.m. There's a special event that I want to talk about that's happening this weekend. Keeping Music Alive is going to be at Goat Lips from 12 to 6 for the Pretzel Fest. Multiple artists, raffles, and donations for the nonprofit Keeping Music Alive. Folks, if you don't know about Keeping Music Alive, it's a nonprofit organization started by some of our very own local musicians, Rocky Denny, his lovely wife Kim, and it's all about promoting live music, helping musicians, whether it's getting gear, finding gigs, help of all sorts and kinds. I've even offered to throw in some drum lessons for somebody if they want it sometime as part of the deal, because they're an organization that needs our support, okay? Non-profit, they're looking for donations, there's going to be raffles, there's going to be live music all day from what I understand. Multiple artists are going to be playing there. Oh, so anyway, Keeping Music Alive, Goat Lips, Sunday. 6-piece suits at Juana's Pagodas at 3 p.m. I've yet to see 6-piece suits, but I have seen many clips of them performing, and I can't wait to see them live. Brent Varner is at Bushwhackers from 11 to 2. Also, Jesse Branham Duo, 2:30 to 5:30. And Ian Nelson plays from 6 to 9. Bushwhackers has got some stuff going on. Yeah, go ahead and open it all the way up, Chris. We're getting our guest stage to come in right now, ladies and gentlemen. So this is part of the live show. You have to roll with the punches and go with the flow and stuff. So, but it is that time for me to bring him on. So before I do, I just want to say, up until just a couple days ago, I didn't know much about my guest for today. I did some research on him, had a long conversation with him on the phone, and was delighted because the man is a walking history lesson. Was introduced to blues music at a very, very early age, and has been around the Gulf Coast and Pensacola for quite some time. He's a musician. He plays bass. He brought a very special instrument that we're going to talk about here a little bit later and for us to discuss. And he is a producer. He's just done so much stuff. I'm not even going to get into the list because, he does a fine job of explaining that himself, okay? He's a very, very well-spoken gentleman, and it's my pleasure to welcome Majik, Mike Cotton, to the KTV studio. Come on in, have a seat, Mike. How you doing?
Hey, man, what's happening?
All right.
I feel like I'm in the big time now.
Oh, I don't know about that. I'm just a humble podcaster, all I am.
We're just looking for another gig.
Yeah, aren't we all?
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, I am really excited that you're on the show today because based on our conversation on the phone, it sounds like not only should you be writing a book of history of music here in the Gulf Coast and stuff, but you've been around.
Writing 2 books right now.
Writing 2 books right now, okay? And we'll talk about those in just a minute. But listen, I want you to, for people who don't know you, that are watching in places other than down here, give the audience an idea how you got started at such an early age in music and how that all came about. You got it.
And I do want to say we promoted out through all our Facebook pages of the show, so you make it so people, so they can text into you and ask questions.
Absolutely. Please do so, yeah.
Cool. Basically, my family's from Atlanta. My mom's family goes way back, even way before the Civil War. They were Welsh. My dad's people from Alabama, and my dad eventually, his family moved to Atlanta, and he was kind of from the other side of the tracks, if you know what I mean. My mom's people were kind of what we call blue bloods down south, but it was kind of a big scandal in Atlanta when they got married. But they were quickly, they've been, my dad, his brother, and my grandfather had been in a lot of businesses out in California, and now they settled in Atlanta, and they got into the restaurant business. Many of you know the Varsity in Atlanta, legendary. Nipsey Russell got discovered there.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, and but we had a restaurant. I was, if I was alive, I don't remember it, but we had a restaurant directly across the street from the Varsity called the Cotton Patch. Okay. And then when the interstate came in, it took us out completely, and it actually took out part of the Varsity, and that's when they started building other levels. But moving forward, my dad, they had a building downtown at Baker and Peachtree, if you know Atlanta. And I was just going back. Atlanta was much smaller back then, but it was cool. I liked it. You know, just too many people. It's like Miami now, too many people. Yeah. But a lot happening there. But anyway, they did auctions in there during the day, and a guy came to them, Doc. He's probably not a doctor, but his name was Doc, whatever. He's probably a witch doctor.
All right.
And he said he was a square dance caller, and he wanted to rent the warehouse.
Oh, my goodness.
And they said, sure, and he offered them $100 a night, Friday, Saturday night. And so anyway, a few weeks went on, and they never got their money.
Oh, no.
And so they went down there and parked off to the side, and they watched. This place was packed. And in those days, Fulton County was a dry county. And but you could bring your own bottle in. I'm sure a lot of it was moonshine. And it was $1 to swing the door. It was $1 for a setup, which would be a Dixie cup with ice, and then your Coke or 7-Up or whatever. Sure. But the problem there was it was a rough crowd. You got coal miners coming down from North Georgia and all. My dad hired Alabama motorcycle cops as his bouncers, and those cops would end out on the street before the night was over. So they, what had happened was Doc didn't never pay. So we heard he had a gambling problem. So they went around the back of the club when I said, "Where's Doc?" So he's out back throwing dice, but he's not too good at it. And so he's like, looks up as the story goes, and if you go on my Facebook page, you'll see some pictures of my dad, his dad, and my uncle kind of look like the Atlanta Mafia. But he freaked out, and they said, no, Doc, you work for us now. So they took it over, and it became Joe Cotton's Rhythm Ranch. My dad never called country music, called hillbilly music. And you get your picture taken on a cowboy hat and all that. But he had a legendary band, a Texas swing band, which was really from Atlanta. It was a guy named Boots Woodall, and they had different names, the Radio Ranchers, the Rhythm Ranchers. But the funny thing about that band is, I guess 8 years ago or so, Sleep at the Wheel came here to Pensacola.
Oh, okay.
And I asked to speak to Ray Benson on his, he's the guy that's like tall, you know, can't miss him. And he's a band leader, and I said, "Hey, Ray, I heard this music when I was a little kid." And he goes, "Where'd you hear it?" I said, "Heard it in Atlanta." He says, "Where?" I said, "My dad had a nightclub there. It started out as a country place, but Texas swing, but became a big nightclub eventually." Okay. But I said, he said, "Well, who's the house band?" I go, "Oh, you'd never hear of him." He goes, I said, "Boots Woodall." He almost passed out. He said, "Nobody's ever said that."
Oh, no way.
He says, "Don't tell anybody, but Asleep at the Wheel is actually based partially on that act."
Oh my God!
Boots, I mean, you can't even find. There's a couple of pictures on the internet of this guy, but very, very obscure. But if you played Texas swing, you knew he was one of the pioneers.
Now, you how old when you?
This was when I turned 5 and a half, almost 6. Okay. My parents put me and my brother in Georgia Military Academy. And down south, if you had the money, you sent your boys to military school. And GMA was like one of the foremost schools, military schools in the country. And even though we lived in Atlanta, I was a boarder. And thank God my brother was my roommate, because I couldn't have probably handled that at 5 and 6 years old.
Right.
But we would come home on the weekends, and my parents picked me up on Fridays, Sundays they'd take us back and had a parade and everything. But I would go into town with my dad on Saturday morning to the club.
Okay.
And the front of the house piano player who made it through the country music club into the supper club, which it became, was Piano Red, legendary piano player. In fact, Brandon Giles, who we mentioned before, my dad wrote a song in 1955 called Big Rock Joe from Kokomo, and my family basically donated that song to Brandon, and hopefully it's going to be on his next album. And he does it. Him and Lars hitting it on the sax, they just do it to the...
It's a small world here around Pensacola, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you right now.
In fact, I was out at Johnny B's one night a couple of years ago, and I was on stage and I sat in and we talked about Piano Red, and they're like, "You're from Atlanta, right? Your family?" Go, "Yeah." This is, "Oh yeah, we were like teenagers sneaking into that club. we love Piano Red." He was quite an icon. His brother, he was a pink-eyed albino, and so was his brother Speckle Red. And but their best friend was Blind Willie McTell that wrote Statesboro Blues. So
Statesboro Blues.
Yeah, so this is all like greatness.
How many times I played that song?
Yeah, and the Allman Brothers, of course, had a big hit about it. But they quickly decided they couldn't deal with the security and all the club. So they decided, they got the bright idea, we're going to make a supper club because Atlanta needs a real supper club like you would have in Vegas or New York or whatever. So it became Joe Cotton's Steak Ranch, but everybody called it Joe Cotton's Place.
Okay.
And it became legendary. And so as I would go on Saturdays and help, a lot of the artists would be there rehearsing or whatever. They got a 5-night gig. And believe it or not, my dad was running a $10,000 a week entertainment budget.
Oh my goodness.
Which would be 30 or 40,000.
Yeah.
But you had to pay these bands.
Go Dad! He was paying them though.
So we had. I can remember distinctly meeting Tommy and Jimmy Dorsey on a Saturday morning. This was.
How old were you then?
I was probably 6, 7, 8 years old. And my dad would introduce me to these guys. Say, these guys have this, and these are some songs, and then. But anyway, I met them. He had Count Basie, Duke Ellington, Martha Ray, Johnny Desmond. In fact, Augie, that plays piano here, toured when she was about 16 with Johnny Desmond. I was telling her some stories.
Oh my God!
She goes, I said, "Man, he must have been a child," but he was a crooner like a Frank Sinatra.
Okay.
One of the coolest guys that played there was not even in the band that played. There was a band called the Three Sons back in the 50s.
All right.
And they had a big instrumental hit called "Peg of My Heart."
Oh, yeah.
It's a standard today. Anyway, the Three Sons was interesting. They had an accordion player, a Hammond organ player, and a guitar player. And,
oh my God!
Okay, and the organ player played the bass lines, with his feet. But Artie, the guitar player, was sick. They had a 2-week stand at my dad's club, and it was like the peak of their career.
Okay.
And Artie in the band was sick, so John Pizzarelli, I think from New Orleans, his dad, Bucky Pizzarelli, took his place, and I got to watch him play it all. And years later, this is probably 10 years ago, Pensacola, we had a jazz fest for a long time, and he was the headliner. This was probably 10 years ago.
Okay.
And so he came off the back of the gazebo stage, and I says, "Bucky, can I get my picture with you?" "Yeah, sure, man." I says, "I'm a fan, but I haven't heard you live, and I'm going to say 50 years. I was probably in my 60s then."
Wow.
He goes, 50 years. He said, "Where did you hear me?" I says, "I heard you in Atlanta." He goes, "You heard me in Atlanta?" He goes, "What's your name?" I go, "Mike Cotton." He goes, "Oh my God, your dad is Joe Cotton." He said, "That's the best freaking gig I've ever had in my life."
Oh.
My dad was a lot like the legacy. His legacy was like Joe Gilchrist.
Okay.
My dad was a songwriter. He was a singer, but he basically wanted to give the musicians a place.
Okay.
So it wasn't like your normal gig club. In fact, Bucky told me, you don't know this, but he said on the weeknights, for sure, he said they closed at 11, did one show, on the weekends they did 2 shows. He said he'd leave the back door open, and every great musician in Atlanta, the showgirls, the dancers, everybody came in and said we would jam till daybreak.
Oh.
But it was...
that's a jam session.
Yeah, I bring all my little friends from GMA, the cadets, and they give us like 6 seats front row on a weekend.
Sure.
And but there's just the artists. If I sit down and start thinking about them, it just kind of, I mean, Andy Griffith, the story goes, he signed his movie contract in the club on a Saturday.
Is that right?
And I was there, helping out, whatever. But,
man.
So that's what I grew up in there. By the late 50s, the business became very tough. The hotels and all were doing kind of the same thing. And they really just were trying to break even.
Yeah.
They made their money other ways. So it just became too difficult, and we had an opportunity to move to Miami, and my mom's dad, my father got in business with him. We were in the land business, so early. Guys selling big acreage out in the boondocks and stuff like that. So then for many years, and
now at that point, had you started playing music on your own yet?
actually, when I was in the club, people ask me, they say, "Well, get on the drums, Mike. It'll be Saturday." I make up,
Sure.
I know what I'm doing, but I'm an inquisitive guy, obviously, and I'm a journalist, and I've interviewed 1,000 people. But I'm always asking, like, what is this? How does this work? So I'm around the best in the industry, and they're going to try this, that. And so by the time we got down to Miami, and I was like, I'm going to say now 10 years old.
Okay.
Every little strip mall down there had a music store. So we had one around the corner. For you people watching down South Florida, it'd be 182nd Street and 7th Avenue. You know that. And I went to Miami Norland Junior High and high school. That's a whole other story. But anyway, they had this guy there, Italian dude named Joe, and he taught guitar.
Oh, okay.
And so I went in there and I asked, what's the deal? He says, well, I think he said it was 10 or 12 lessons for $100, and we'll give you the guitar to use, take home, but we don't want you to buy one right now because we have too many cases where kids, they lose interest, and the parents spend the money on it.
Oh, right.
So off I went. I took 3, 4, 5 lessons. I was a big fan. I mean, I had hundreds of 45 records back then.
Wow.
But I just was losing interest, and my brother goes, let me see that guitar. And he started messing around with it, and he really liked it. And he said, go up there and see if I can pay for the rest of your lessons. Well, I'd already paid. My mom gave it to me as a Christmas present.
Okay.
He said if he can come in, because he knew a little bit how to play, but he went on. He never did it as a profession. I mean, they played gigs as a teenager and all that, but he studied under Del Staten and Harvey Mandel. If you remember Harvey Mandel, he was part of the groups that didn't go to San Francisco. They went to the south side of Chicago.
Okay.
With Elvin Bishop and Mike Bloomfield and Al Cooper.
These names,
all these
people, listen to these names.
But Harvey ended up in South Florida at a club called Blue Midnight Pub, and Rick Oakes, that plays for the Hammerheads, he was in the house band there. So when I moved up here, we've known each other for 45 years. James Daniel was from down there, and I think there's somebody else. Oh, a friend of mine came in here. We were all on stage one night. And it was like there was only Charlie from the band. Everybody else was from South Florida.
Oh, is that right?
So we're taking your band over.
Oh my goodness.
But anyway, so time went on, and I did what kids do, and I was interested in motorcycles back then. I hadn't started surfing, but so by the time I got into what we call junior high, which you kids call it middle school now, same thing. Yeah. And I got in there like into the 7th and 8th grade, and I wanted to play. So back then they had big music programs in all these public schools.
They supported them, yeah.
Right, they supported, had the instruments and everything. So I went down and talked to the director of this program. And I said, I want to play sax. He says, I'm sorry, man. He says, all the saxophones are gone.
They're gone.
Well, how am I supposed to pick up chicks if I don't play the sax?
So
I said,
be a drummer.
I said, close. I said, what about strings? He goes,
okay.
So he shows me a violin, and I was like, Then he shows me a cello, and I went, And then I turned around and I saw the stand-up bass. And I said, is that like a bass guitar? He goes, yeah, it's before the bass guitar ever came out.
Correct.
It's pretty much set up the same way, except it's a big piece of furniture.
Wow.
So I had a string bass. Either I was bass number 1 or 2 all through junior high and even into high school. But I quickly found out if I went down to Sears and bought me a Silvertone bass amp and found a Fender bass and started a band, it's a lot more fun. So we did that, and we're actually in a book. There's a book called Savage Lost. Jeff, I think Limlick wrote it from Miami, and it's about garage bands in the South Florida area and all that. Back in the day, forerunner to all the big stuff that happened.
So what was the name of your first band?
It was called the Satins.
The Satin.
And we had the satin vests.
Oh, costumes, no less.
We wore different colors. We would all wear purple or all wear red or whatever.
That's awesome.
And then we had the little skinny tie.
Oh, okay.
But we had a guy in that band, Billy Nickerson. He was like 15. This guy played like Mike Panera. We didn't know who Mike Panera was then, but so we were back then you could get away with no vocals actually. You played Ventures and Dwayne Eddy,
Right.
Link Ray, Rumble. You know, we probably did Louie Louie and a few other songs.
Sure,
you know,
sure.
but none of us in the band were really powerful vocalists, but we could play, and so we were on the circuit, the Catholic school, you know, the Jewish school, the
Wow.
Optimist Club, you know, and
Making it around.
Sock Hops, and yeah, so we did that, but. By going into 9th and 10th grade, my parents always went to Daytona Beach every summer. And I started surfing on these little surf mats.
Okay.
And I noticed a guy down the beach renting surfboards. So I rented a board for one day. Went back home, saved up my lawn mowing money, and called him. And I says, we're going the next year. I want to rent that board all week. So for a week, I'd go out, surf, have lunch, go back out, surf till dinner. And that was it. I was hooked on surfing.
Wow. A lot of surfing.
Yeah. And, you know, surfing and music and all, it's all, to
Go
me,
together.
surfing is a sport maybe, but to me it's like the arts. You know, it's, and I was a longboarder, and I rode some shorter boards, but never a short board. But I looked at it, it was like almost a dance with the waves.
Something just came to mind, Mike. When you were in that era there, and you were getting into surfing, you were also already into music. What were the bands that were prevalent then at the time when you were really at your height of your surfing?
Well, the bands, you know, the music we were playing was the bands of that day, which, you know, the Safaris, the Ventures, the Jan Dean. We really didn't do much Beach Boys because they didn't really jam. But Link Ray, a lot of the rockabilly. Got Dick Dale, and too. You know, Dick Dale. He came to Pensacola a few times.
I know that. Oh.
Yeah, he was wonderful. So, and later on, I saw a lot of these acts out in California when I was living out there a couple of different times. But that was kind of what. But they were, you know, it's like today. Some bands were more top 40.
Sure.
In other words, more rock and roll. But the real heavy. Dude, I think we were doing more of the heavy rock instrumentals and some vocals, and we'd have people come sit in or whatever. But that was kind of a golden period of artists and all this music coming from the 50s.
Right.
In fact, my dad told me when it was kind of, you know, the late 50s, he says we're gonna be shutting it down and we're moving to Miami, and he came and he said you need to know that the black artists from Mississippi, the blues players, they're going to Memphis and getting what they call them hillbilly players. And he says they're getting together and they've invented this new kind of music called rock and roll. And he said it's going to take. He says the big bands are going down pretty much, but this is going to take off.
It's going to take off.
Of course, today everything's in style, but so that was awesome. And then, you know, through school we did. You know, I kept playing. I think 12th grade I may not have had the band anymore, and just too busy surfing. And then I got ready for a trip I took, which I'm writing a book. I'm about 2/3 of the way through, called Miami to the Unknown. And it's the day after I got to high school, and got my $150 1949 Mercury with some buddies, and we drove from Miami to Mazatlan, Mexico.
How many miles is that?
2,200 miles.
Oh my goodness!
And we're talking not as a crow flies. I mean.
Right.
But this book is like every chapter. In fact, if you want to check out the book, I'm posting all the drafts on my Facebook page, and we're up to chapter 14 now, and I've got about 6 more chapters to write. But
the Facebook page is it Mike Cotton Production?
Well, there is a Mike Cotton Production, but that's kind of inactive now because we've moved everything over to just Mike Cotton.
Okay.
And the profile changes all. I'm trying to think what the profile is. I think that one where I'm kind of getting down with my bass.
Right.
But you can go to the website, MikeCottonProductions.com, okay, and the bottom of every page, there's 2 buttons. One button will take you to the main Facebook page. Okay. But I post on about 10 different pages. I have permission and stuff to do all that.
Great.
And by the way, I have a present for you, but I think I left it out in the green room.
Oh, so, well, my wife is probably watching. V-Lady, if you're watching, would you please
You're
grab
forcing her to watch.
Yeah, she's watching. Grab that bag that Mike brought in, if you would, and please bring it in here for us. We appreciate that. Well, before we get into that, though, normally at this time I would go into the entertainment side where we would jam a little bit. However, today we're going to do something a little bit different because Mike's brought a very, very special bass guitar.
I'm just the bass player.
He's just the bass player, but he brought a very, very special bass guitar, and so we're going to take a few minutes and we're going to talk about that. So if you want to go over and grab that, and he's going to tell you a little bit about some of the history. Now, this is the Fender.
So, I don't know if you're getting that in the camera there.
Yeah, you're getting it.
Okay, so this is a Fender Precision. It's an interesting story. I've owned probably a dozen different basses over the years. And I have real short fingers, so I'm not like the typical bass player that's got, longer fingers. But this, to me, this bass plays itself. You picked it up, it's a little heavy.
Little?
I don't
My
think,
goodness.
and this is a lot of information you try to find out about history, and some's true and some isn't. But allegedly, this was built in 1971. It was probably hot rodded in a little bit in 91. But this wood is the reason it's so heavy. It's swamp ash. I mean, it's ash wood that has died, and they've gone to the swamp, and
Right.
that stuff petrifies or whatever.
Yeah.
And Fender didn't make that many of these. And B.B. King has Lucille, or had
Right.
Lucille.
Mhm.
This is Ashley.
Ashley, got a name.
It's the only woman in my life that hasn't done me wrong.
Ah!
And it's always there for me.
Oh,
So
man.
they around this region, it's legend because all the guys don't know, and they're amazed. And I'll let the bass players, if you want to play it, but it doesn't a day go by or a week go by that I don't get somebody wants to buy it. And I said, you can't. It's something like this. You really can't put a price on it.
Yeah.
So it's like,
And
why
you-
fix it if it's not broken?
And you told me you got a heck of a deal on this axe, didn't you?
Yeah, a friend of mine came into a club down in Boynton Beach. I remember like it was yesterday. So this was 81. This was built in 71. And Mike Polis, another real fine bass player down in South Florida, and he had bought a Limbic or some other thing, and he liked it better than this bass. And I always looked at his bass, and goes, man, I need to find one like that. He goes, so he comes in, he goes, you still interested in the bass? And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, I'm selling it. I'm offered you first. I go, how much? He goes, $200.
My heart be still.
I went to the bar manager and said, can you cash a check for $200?
Oh my.
Came back, and from there, the rest is history after that. This is played literally.
And it's
I-
been with you ever since.
Yeah, my biggest band, and I've led about half dozen bands over the years, is Shades of Blue, and that's pretty well-known group in South Florida, but we toured all of Florida.
Okay.
And I think 90 was maybe our last year to tour,
All right.
and we broke 300 dates that year.
Oh, what a
Yeah,
year.
that's
a lot of playing, Mike.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of double headers, and we could be playing. Actually, we were on the Chitlin circuit too. I was on black radio, what they call urban radio, which is older people listen to, which was usually on AMs. And I started a radio show called Shades of Blue, and so they knew I had a band, and I named the band Shades of Blue. And then I'm starting to get calls from these club owners saying, "Can you come play?" I said, "Well," we're all blue eyes, I said, "We don't care. We heard your band's great, and we played a lot. For a while, I had my sister, we called her little sister Kathy. She's about 6 foot in heels, blonde hair out to
Wow.
here, wore the feather boas and all, and she was like she sang a lot like Big Mama Thornton.
Is that right?
So she went kind of, she was getting some fame, and
Yeah.
couldn't handle it.
Well, who were some of the other founding members of Shades of Blue?
Well, Glenn Whalen, he passed away about 2 years ago,
Okay.
and Glenn played with a number of bands down there. He had that real nasty Stratocaster sound. I loved it.
Oh, okay.
We had Billy. This was the core band. In fact, I'm the only living member of the band now. I got a lot to look forward to. I got to carry the story on. But Billy Burns, who came to us, I was working in a warehouse putting this band together. And after I think my second divorce, and I'm back out in the street gigging. And a guy shows up at the warehouse named Bill Burns.
Okay.
Billy Burns, he was from Philly. And he had a band, he was in a band called the Juke Rockers up there. And they were kind of like that band when the big acts come to town, the
Right.
Thunderbirds or wherever, they would open. And then I had Jerry, Big Beach Sereno, obviously Italian. Jerry was hefty guy.
Yeah.
Wore black cape, smoked cigarettes with a cigarette holder.
Oh my goodness.
Jerry, his favorite band was Tower of Power, and he could,
Love Tower of Power.
He could have been in that band, and but we'd be done with the gig, and this is back in the days of the payphones and stuff or whatever. Bar owner, he know where you is. They say, "This call for you, Jerry," and I go over there and they go, "Who was it?" Oh, it says it's Greg Allman and Butch Trucks are down at Criteria Studios, and they just want to jam. So he would go like after our gigs. He's I don't think his body ever saw the
my
sun.
goodness.
But he knew Keith Richards would come down there. What's his name?
What?
He had who was it? Ron Wood had a club on South Beach called Woody's, and he had Willie Dixon and all these people.
Good.
And Jerry was kind of their go-to drummer if he was available,
Okay.
to play it. But we had, over the years, I probably had 30 different great musicians. They kind of come and go, and I was the constant, but in the end, we did cut an album, Live and Burning, and I'm converting that now from tape over to CD and then put it up on the cloud.
Yeah, well, while you mention that, and with some of the time left, I want you to also talk about the beautiful axe, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. This is a vintage guitar, no doubt about it. But I want you to talk about a little bit about your business and what you're doing right now for anybody that might be interested.
Okay.
And Chris, D-Lady didn't hear me. See if you can get that bag that Mike brought in.
I think it's out in the green room.
It's in the green room on the couch over there. He wants to present that on the show.
Yeah. Well, years when I, played, gig, whatever. Early 90s, I actually I had a gig that came to me at the urban radio station.
Okay.
And they were going to launch a kind of an MTV style Caribbean show.
Oh my word.
And Caribbean Satellite Network. So I left there and I went to work. I did programming, had the VJs. Had a lot of fans up here. It was on a clear satellite signal.
Wow.
So I did that. And the station started to fail because they didn't have a sales department.
Oh no!
You gotta have sponsors.
Yeah, you do.
But it was a great time. And so I was out on the road. One of the guys lives here, Mike Becker. They call him the T-shirt guy.
Okay.
And he works at all these big, like Lollapalooza and these Jazz Fest and all these big. I think he just did Tampa Bay Blues Fest.
Wow.
He had family up here, so we came up here, and eventually I got involved with a lady here. Eventually we got married.
Oh wow!
That never lasts. But I stayed in Pensacola, and I played with the Crow Brothers and a lot of different musicians. Was in a band there for a couple of years, but I was kind of tired of doing the bar scene and all that. I was supportive, but anyway, I did a pilot. I had a little background in television. Background in movies.
You were telling me about this, yeah.
Off and on. So I had an idea. I forget what the first idea was, but somebody came to me and said, "You need to do." I wanted to do a reality show, and they said, "You need to do a show about you guys." And I said, well, "Who's you guys?" They said, "You old farts that are refusing to go away." He said. And so I put a pilot together called Senior Extremers, like extreme games for seniors.
Oh my goodness.
No E, but just
okay,
extreme.
yeah, okay.
And did a big, what was that Italian restaurant used to be up on, a Greek restaurant up on, it's by Apple Market, it's gone now. But anyway, we did a big, like a test screening.
Okay.
And we had 100, 150 people there, everybody loved it. And I knew of a guy named Dave Barnes here.
Okay.
And Dave is from Chicago. And he's won some awards, including 2 Emmys, and I made sure he got an invitation. So as we're walking out of the conference room into the bar, Dave standing there goes, "Hey Mike, I really like your concept. I think I can help you." And I said, "Good, I'm glad you're here." I said, "Where do you live?" And he gave his address. I wrote it down. I said, "I'll see you tomorrow at about noon. I'll have a contract with you. You won't have this show now." And off we went. We did about.
Oh my goodness.
We did about 22 little vignettes, which if it was live TV, you could probably fit. Because you're talking a half-hour show, and
right.
It's 22 minutes.
Right.
44 minutes on an hour because you got commercials.
Right.
So we worked on that. We produced about 22 different guests, and you could edit it however you wanted.
Wow.
And we got on a few little regional networks. We almost got on. Well, we could have Wealth Channel, which was owned by OAN out in California.
Right. Yeah.
But in the end, it's just shows you everything I do. I guess it's unorthodox. It just kind of happens.
Yeah.
Look, folks, most of this life I didn't ask for. It just kind of came down the pike.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what. It sounds like to me that you've had quite an experience in life, not just in the music industry, but with so many different things. And I'm so glad you came on the show today. What do you got here?
Okay, we got a little present for you.
Okay.
So with Dave, I've done 6 documentaries with Dave.
Wow.
Our biggest documentary is, let me find this here. And I know you like hats.
I love hats.
Back to China Beach.
Oh, look at that.
And this is our most successful film. And it's the real story of the guys that were in Vietnam that surfed. And then we went on. Hey, it looks good.
Well, it fits good, too.
And then what they did in the rest of their life.
Reeves today, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. So we've got 3 different, we've retooled it a couple times.
Okay.
And I've toured it, took it around. I don't want to get mixed up in the Hollywood thing too much. It's now on, if you go to @Mike Cotton Productions, that's my YouTube channel. There's about 75 films and videos on there you can look at, including this film now. So
Okay.
you got to watch commercials, and and if you have the YouTube app, you can watch it anywhere. And then there's the China Beach T-shirt, and there was a TV show.
China Beach was one of my favorite. It was one of my favorite
Okay.
shows. I remember. My
And that
wife used to watch
actually-
it all the time. Look at this.
So
China Beach.
and we actually took a film crew to Vietnam.
This is a quality shirt.
Yeah,
They're
they're not those little thin jobs they're making now. Yeah.
Oh
They're
no!
cotton.
And I will wear it proud, sir.
Actually, the guy who was most noted at China Beach, which was Da Nang, and it's really the Vietnamese call it Majik Beach because they hate the Chinese and they don't. But they are the biggest tourist demographic in there.
Oh wow!
But Larry Martin is a guy from here, and he was the guy when he showed up. He was like the third member of the club, and he started getting the boards in, and they expanded the surf shack. And that guy Brian Wimmer that plays the lifeguard. In fact, if you go on my YouTube channel, you'll see an interview with Larry and Brian Wimmer on Good Morning America with Joan London's hair out to here.
Oh my goodness!
And it was a show. I think it was the end of the first season, and the veterans totally oversaw the show, so they try to be, authentic. And of course, in Apocalypse Now, they have that scene in there too. But
Apocalypse Now. Wow.
Charlie don't surf. Get out there.
Yeah.
Charlie does surf now. There's some great surfers. So we went for like a week to film over there, and it was really good. But we've done. I've done 2 documentaries of Floribama. I did Floribama 50 years in 2014, which was their whole history. And then about 2 months before Joe Gilchrist passed away, we released, and I'd been after him for years to do this, the Joe Gilchrist story.
Oh wow.
And I dug and played detective for 3 years, getting all kinds. He had a whole other life, before the Floribama, even when he was at the Floribama. And your stories about him living in California and a school teacher, his other bar he had downtown. He went to Auburn. And he said he didn't do so great because it cut into his social life. But he made it. So I just cut an album. I was Randy Howell, the Heartman, and Mobile came to me. And in fact, you were at the show. It was that first Kenny Neal show where Cat Rhodes opened for that one, and the guy on the harmonica came up to me. That's Heartman. He was very good. He sounds like Little Walter.
Oh yeah.
And I said, "Boy, I love your Heartman." He says, I know who you are, and I says, I've been on everybody's stuff for 50 years. I've never had my own thing. Oh, wow. And of course, it comes down to budgets. I says, look, I already got an idea. We can do this quality but low budget. I says, I'm already talking to regional bands that are really good at having original music. Let's do something that features our, Floribama's gotten plenty of publicity and country music. Oh, it's great. But we have this now just continue to grow, this roots music and blues scene here, which is it's finally just getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, and I love talking about it because there's so much blues talent down there.
So it's the Gulf Coast All Stars.
Okay.
And they have a website and a Facebook page, and they have 9 bands. Most of them and it's 13 original songs on there.
Oh.
And we did a release party over at Seville, so you can get it. You can get it on the Spotify and all that. We also, even at the release party, we even sold thumb drives.
Is that right? That's unique and original.
Well, my car, first car had no CD player.
Yeah, right. Yeah, mine neither.
We're doing that, and Dave and I, we've done all kinds of music. I've filmed over 200 acts at the Floribama.
Wow.
One setting alone was the 2014, I think, songwriters, and the new owners brought us in, and we sat in that main room for 9 days, and then went out around, and even we did the last interview and performance of Wayne Hills. If you don't know him, he was kind of the force behind this new resurgence in outlaw country music. So
country.
Yeah, Jamie Johnson and these guys. Okay. Chris Stapleton, they looked up to him, and in fact, the owner John Guest said, "Be sure you get this guy and get an interview with him," and we did.
Now, this content you're talking about, this is on your YouTube channel. You can see.
Yeah, you can see on my YouTube channel right now. It's about 75 films. You've got. I tell you, if you're into music of any type, I've got an hour and 20-minute performance we filmed of Dean Dillon, who wrote Tennessee Whiskey. Okay. Just him and his guitar, and all the stars came together. And I think we just passed 525,000 views.
Wow.
And we have over 400 reviews on there, and I mean, people are saying this is one of the best produced things. And look, when you're doing live recording, you know how it is, and you're dealing with audiences and sound, and the jackhammer for the bridge going on.
Oh, driving me nuts, man.
Yeah, when I was filming China Beach, we were doing some interviews around here. We had to go on the other side of town because it was bleeding in.
Oh, yeah, you hear
I
it.
think we ended up in like a cemetery or something.
Oh,
in
my
the interviews.
God.
But yeah, the YouTube channel, and then like I said, if you just go there, in the bottom of every page, there's two buttons. One will take you to the YouTube channel, and the other will take you to my Facebook, because there is a Mike Cotton Productions. There is a Mike Cotton Dave Barnes page, Mike Cotton Media, but just Mike Cotton is our big page, because that's it's kind of something I think is fairly new. It's called a personal professional page.
Okay.
So they have the 5,000 max members,
Right,
which I got a long time ago, but you can have followers. So if you go there and we're filled up, just hit follow.
Yeah.
You get the same
content.
It's the same thing. you
Yeah.
know.
Fantastic. Listen, Mike, I want to thank you once again for coming on my show today.
Yeah.
Mike Cotton, ladies and gentlemen, a Renaissance man if I've ever met one in my entire life. This
He's a
man,
kid with a dream.
yeah, he's been around and done a lot of stuff. So I
How
want to
much
thank you
time
so
do you
much.
have?
Yeah, right. Well, we're winding down right now. So
Yeah.
if you'd be so kind as to put your guitar right over there.
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and make my closing remarks and
Okay.
end the show. Thanks again, Mike.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Cotton.
And let me know if that's the right size shirt.
I'll put it on here in a minute. We'll find out. for
It's
sure.
an XL.
It's an XL?
Yeah.
Oh, that might be a bit on the big side, but we'll see.
All right. Well, we can get a large for you.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Talk about a historian, a man that's been around the music scene since a very, very, very early age. Mike Cotton. Great show. Thank you so much for everything, Mike. I do appreciate it. Couple of thank yous before we end the show. I want to thank my producer, Chris Johnson. He's the one behind the camera, always making sure that the content is working and doing what it's supposed to do. And my wife, D-Lady. Hey, are you watching right now? You know, okay, I understand. Another announcement. You do not want to miss The Uncharted Zone with Phil Thomas Cat. He's on Fridays at 6 p.m. Another reason that I wanted to go with the Thursdays instead of Fridays is because Phil shows on at 6 and we were colliding there. And though he's a seasoned veteran and been on a lot longer than the Beat Man, I still want unfettered access to his show, so please give him some support and love. And remember, next week, Friday, we will have an episode, 6 p.m. next week, Friday. We'll have Jim Cat Daddy Richmond of the Cat Daddy Blues Band. Him and Howie Erskine are going to come in because they have a great act. They're the Cat Daddy Blues duo. They played around many places. They played at competitions, and they're going to be right here in the KTB studio next Friday, 6 p.m. You don't want to miss it. And finally, lastly, don't forget about this event that Rocky Denny's putting on at Goat Lips this Sunday, Keeping Music Alive. What an organization, nonprofit dedicated totally and completely to the promotion and dedication of local music here in Pensacola. You couldn't ask for a better cause. Goat Lips starts at noon. They're going to have raffles. There'll be live music all day long. And it's just going to be lots of fun. So if D-Lady and I can make it out there, we're going to come out there and spend a little time as well. But until that time, I want to thank each and every one of you for logging on to the show today. This is show number 11. And we're just going to plug right along and see how far we can take this thing. I'm having fun. I hope you are too, especially with some of the people that I'm bringing on this show. Never a dull moment on the beat. There's no doubt about it. So until then, you know, keep the beat. I'm the Beat Man, and I'm out.